members Corey Wright and Liz Liz Toyne in the conference room at the Holiday Building in case anyone comes in live. We may or may not be joined by the city manager a little bit later. We've done some checking and made sure that with our topic today of the homeless, status of homeless camps, that the people who often come were notified, and Liz took care of that. We're not sure we'll have guests from the homeless community, so we will just roll. Okay, I am Karen Hiller, the chair, and if the other two committee members would introduce.
Sylvia Ortiz, District 3.
Neil Dobler, District 7.
All right. Liz, I'm not sure what versions of the agenda everyone might have. The one that I have in front of me has approval of minutes on it. Yep. But I think we thought we didn't need to do that. Can you help me?
You're thinking of tomorrow, or the social service meeting. That one did not need minutes approval.
Okay.
So this one is approved, the June 8th minutes. And I sent those this morning.
Pardon me?
I sent those out this morning. Or
I
yesterday.
didn't catch it. So,
okay.
Has anyone reviewed the minutes? Are we ready to approve? Sylvia, Councilwoman?
I'd like to make a motion to approve all 14 pages.
Second.
Second from Councilman Dobler. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approve. Opposed, same sign? Okay. Minutes are approved. We have just two other agenda items before us. The first is to get a staff update on what's happening with homeless populations in Topeka. And there'll be maybe some questions and discussion. I would like to defer to Liz and Corey. My understanding is we have a report from Sergeant Clam, who could not be here, and Corey may be able to add to that.
Sure. Okay, so I can read the email from Sergeant Clam, and then committee members Ortiz and Dobler, I will forward this to you as well so that you can see it. Sergeant Clam says, my report on Topeka's unsheltered population will be brief. Due to COVID-19 and the civil unrest caused by the death of George Floyd, my time has been occupied with other pressing matters. I would estimate the current unsheltered population to be less than 100 in the city of Topeka and might be closer to 60. Mark from the rescue mission may have a more accurate approximation. Since the demo of Tent City, there are a handful of holdouts still in that area. There are approximately 3 camps on city property located behind the mission in Old Tent City. Another 3 to 5 moved their camp directly south on the riverbank. The vast majority of residents of Tent City were housed thanks to KDADS and Vallejo. To my knowledge, everyone that was housed is still housed. There are no large camps to my knowledge in the city. We were made aware of a camp south of Blind Tiger in the trees. I have been in communication with Code. The property owner is trying to demo a building on that property, and they are aware of massive amounts of trash that is in the woods. We, Mark from the rescue mission and I, have walked the woods and informed everyone they were on private property and they needed to move. I apologize for not being able to attend this meeting. If there is anything I can do, or if you need more information, please let me know. Sergeant Clam.
Okay, if we could follow that up with any comments from Corey Wright from Housing.
Sure. So as you guys know, we had 2 kind of housing first projects. One back in March of 2019, and then one here recently with the donated funds from the state. So I'll first report on the Shelter Plus Care Housing First, which again started in March of 2019. That's when we first started housing people with that particular program. We issued 34 vouchers at that time. That included a total of 46 people that we were trying to assist with the vouchers. 24 households actually did enroll and complete and get on the program. Since then, 4 households have been terminated, which gives us an 83% success rate, which is outstanding for chronically homeless individuals. According to the national statistics, that's significantly better for Housing First program. So I'm super excited about that. So that's the Shelter Plus Care portion. And then recently we had people move in for a 6-month period. A lot of people started in March, so they're getting close to the end of their 6 months. We issued 32 vouchers. 23 were actually used, and we've had 0 people be terminated from the program. So nobody's been evicted. So that's pretty amazing, you have to say. So I'm super excited about that as well. We have some savings, some cost savings from this program where we didn't utilize all the vouchers that we could have to extend rents for 6 months. So we have extended the program to 7 months now. So we will be assisting them for a total of 7 months. KDADS and their partners are working with all these individuals to try to get them resources in the community. I didn't get another update back from them today about how that's going, but I know that they're actively working with these individuals and trying to help them get some kind of sustainability while they're being housed. So it's good news.
Thank you so much. That is great news. Any other related news before we open it up for questions?
Nope, I think that's all I have.
Okay. Committee members, questions? Councilwoman.
Thank you, Karen. I am just concerned. I know Let's Help was a huge feeding place for a lot of them for lunch. And I'm just concerned because sometimes when I've headed down that way, I see a lot of them still hanging out there. What have we done, or do we know if we've done anything to help those that still kind of wander down there, Corey?
Not necessarily with Let's Help, but I know that the Division of Community Engagement is actively working with the Topeka Rescue Mission on getting food out into the neighborhoods and into the community. So I think that there's still people going to Let's Help for familiarity, but I think there's a lot of activity going on with this new, I believe the Rescue Mission received a USDA grant that allows them to get this food out into the community, which is very helpful for the neighbors.
So what you're saying is they do go over there and go by there and hand out food?
Yeah, they are handing out sack lunches, I believe, due to COVID at Let's Help, and the Rescue Mission is also handing out sack lunches. With the new CV funds that we talked about at the last council meeting, they will be able to amplify that program a little bit more with some of those CV funds that we just received from HUD.
And that would be Monday through Friday?
Yes. I'm council member, I can check on that. I believe the Rescue Mission has Saturday and Sunday services as well, but I'm not 100% on that. I'd happily check on that and report back to you.
That would be great. I'd just like to know where they can get a meal. You know, so many times I ran into a man, and he had 2 kids, and they were just walking and just, you know, looking. He didn't want to take them in the store, and he was just wondering where he could go to get food, you know, to feed his kids, you know, his children, because he just lost his job and stuff. So to me, that would be helpful if we had that so that we would know where to direct people.
We do have a list that I'll send you as well that has food sources all across the community in all different neighborhoods. That's kind of a compiled list of food opportunities for families in
I
Topeka.
think I have that, but I'll look at it. That'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Sure. Councilman, any? Do you have something else?
I don't really have any questions. Thanks for the report.
Okay. Corey, you led into what I wanted, one of the two things I wanted to check with you, and that is, could you talk then about how you see the staff proposal for the CARES money, this extra COVID money, plugging into this situation, and how long you think it will last?
So the CARES money in particular, as it goes to the rescue mission, is that what you're referring to, Chair?
Well, I think for the committee, not everybody's as plugged in, but for the committee and the general public, we're getting actually 3 different grants, and and they're all oriented toward people who are at risk and of low income or without income. So if you could, you don't have to list off every item, but talk about, I mean, we've got some people now in 7 months worth of temporary housing, and we're going into fall and winter as that ends. Also, we're all very focused on how immediate this problem is with COVID, yet people are looking ahead, and I think many people don't know how long we would be able to use this money to help people out. So, I mean, I know you've got that list in your head, so
Yeah.
whatever's appropriate, if you could kind of talk about how it will be useful.
Sure. So ESG funds have a very specific 2-year commitment to expend the funds and put in your draw into the HUD system. So we have been telling the agencies that might receive that funds that we are looking to have that money expended in a 1.5 years. So that's what we're looking at for the agencies that are receiving those ESG funds. CDBG.
I'm going to stop you for just a second.
Sure.
Because you're a little bit muffled. Did you say the end of the year or a 1.5 years?
I'm gonna scoot down here for a second. I am going to, repeat that. So the CDBG, the ESG funds have to be used within 2 years. So we have to have that fully accounted for in 2 years within the HUD system. So we have told the agencies that might be receiving those funds that we would like it to be expended in a 1.5 years for ESG. So that's our rapid rehousing, homeless prevention, and shelter operations funds with the ESG.
And for those funds, can those funds be used for the people that are already in the shelter program, or do those have to be new people, and do they have to be directly COVID related?
Yes, their need for the funds has to be COVID related. So they've had to have lost hours at work, lost a job, something of that nature in order for them to receive rapid rehousing or homeless prevention funds. They will be used for anybody that meets the eligibility criteria. However, I do know that typically the agencies have some leeway on whether or not they will assist somebody that has no job, for example, with rapid rehousing, because you won't be able to sustain that after we assist them with some rent. Then they won't be able to sustain it, and it's not a good use of money. So that's sometimes a limitation.
Okay. Any questions on that source? Okay, and the other programs, Corey?
Yeah, so the CDBG CV funds, or Community Development Block Grant CV funds, they don't have that hard 2-year requirement like ESG. However, our office really likes to expend our annual funds within a 2-year time period. So we're also shooting for about a 1.5 years for those funds to be expended. And again, that would be for the small business grants and the mobile testing unit in East Topeka.
And there's also some discussion of using those for small businesses, which might include jobs as well?
Yes.
Okay. Questions on that? Councilwoman?
Yes, Corey, you kind of muffled out and all I heard was in East Topeka. What did you say before that?
The mobile testing unit will be in East Topeka. The location hasn't been
Oh.
set yet.
Okay.
If approved tomorrow at council, it will be in East Topeka.
Okay, thank you.
Corey, if you could, is that all there is on the CARES money?
Yes.
If you could talk to us to the best of your knowledge through either Sergeant Clam's involved activities and yours at the staff level, what are people looking at for fall and winter at this point?
I honestly, Councilmember Hiller, I think what we're seeing right now is a lot of people with rent assistance situations where evictions are starting to happen. I believe they start mid this week, actually, at the courthouse, and they're severely backed up, from my understanding, of people doing evictions. So hopefully, if approved tomorrow evening at council, we can get that money out super quick to try to prevent those people from actually going through that eviction process and before they go to court.
Okay. Are they expecting then the numbers to be as high as they were last winter?
I'm not for sure on that, I'm sorry.
Pardon me?
I'm not positive on that. I apologize, I don't know the answer to that. I would
Okay.
predict, and this is just my thoughts, it is going to be a little higher, I think.
I couldn't, you're kind of blipping in and out, but
Uh-oh.
I
Am I
couldn't-
close enough?
I don't know, it might be better if you sit at this one. Right here. This
That
is
one?
Right by the webcam.
Gotcha. It's musical chairs.
Sorry, we're just gonna have Corey move a little bit closer.
Councilmember Hiller, I was saying that I'm not positive on the answer to what the future looks like for renters. But in my opinion, from what I'm hearing and the request I'm getting from the community, that there's more people looking at evictions right now than in prior years.
okay. I know that with the efforts that were really phenomenal on the part of everybody, we of course hoped that there wouldn't be as many folks in such desperate straits this coming year. Councilwoman Ortiz, this was your item. Are there other things that you had hoped to get updated on?
No, I do have one more question. I thank staff for giving us some type of report. I think it's important that we keep up with the homeless. We put a lot of work into that. We don't want to lose ground on that. Corey, the homeless task force hasn't met, I'm assuming.
We've actually been meeting regularly by Zoom every month.
Oh, you still do?
Yes.
Okay. Have you guys already met for this month?
We meet, no, we met last week, sorry.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, I might see when you meet in August just to kind of get a feel of that, see what's kind of going on.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will
but
say
I-
that, oh, pardon me, go ahead.
That was my concern was just that, I'm sure that they're even having a tougher time and I wanted us to be aware if the numbers went up or what their needs were or if their needs were being met. That was a big concern of mine. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you all. Maybe we, do you think, Councilwoman, if we put this on our September agenda to check in again?
I think that would be great unless staff feels like we need to do something with that, Corey. If you get to your August meeting and you feel like there's something we need to, know, that would be great if you would let us know.
I certainly will. I will let you know as well, staff is meeting with the water department employees tomorrow to talk about a day where we can assist people with water assistance, provided that tomorrow night agenda item gets approved for like a day event where people can sign up to come and help with utility disconnects. So that's in the works as well. So we have a lot of moving parts right now. So definitely an update in August or September. We'll probably have a lot more to update. You're right.
So if I may, Madam Chair,
Please.
so what you're saying is, they will come in for assistance?
Yeah, so if you remember when we had the HPRP funds, do you remember that?
I think so.
We had like a
I
big
think-
event where people stood in line and we gave them numbers and we assisted them. We obviously can't do it quite like that because of COVID. So we are considering putting together appointment slots for a couple of days where we have 5 or 6 staff in this holiday room and we see appointments every 20 minutes. The people have to have a disconnect in order to receive assistance, and we can pay up to 6 months of their utility cost. So it's a great opportunity. I know after speaking with the city manager and the utilities department, there are a lot of people with some water bill problems as well. And so this will be our part in assisting them with that rather quickly. We want to move fast on that as well.
I think that's great, City Manager, if we are able to do that, if we could get that information as soon as possible, not like 2 days before the event. I get a lot of calls on that, so that would be very, very helpful to us to get the word out, especially with the NIA's not meeting and they're not sending out any newsletters, so we can get that out as soon as possible. I think that would be very great.
Absolutely.
I'm excited about making sure, I mean, if this CARES money will let us get people's utilities current, it does 2 things. It relieves their housing money, but it also cleans it, if we can get it before their credit goes bad, so that A, they have heat and water and lights, and we've covered their credit and delinquency history a bit. Hopefully that can pay off well for everybody. Yes.
Corey, is that one of the, what is it? One of the rules? No, I don't want to say rules. I don't know what word I'm looking for. That it has to be a bill that's cut off?
It has to be a disconnect notice. They have to have a disconnect, or they can be currently cut off, but they have to at least have a disconnect notice in order to, that's a HUD regulation, yes.
Okay, so that's not us, that's HUD. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Isn't it, Corey, isn't it basically because we want to make sure that we keep them in the home and that this is one of the things that might cause them to leave the home is they don't have utilities?
Yep.
So when they have that disconnect, by saving them, by paying the bill, we keep them in their home. Therefore, it's preventing homelessness.
Exactly.
I wonder, along all those lines, if there wouldn't be a way to get to literally solicit. 6 months is a long time to be in arrears. And even at 60 days, even at 30 days, they're eligible for shutoff. If there was a way, I don't want to be encouraging people to let their water bill go whenever they're in trouble. If there was a way for us to perhaps get those notices sooner and have them just more on their feet and on their own quicker. I get it that it's more money if we wait longer. Councilwoman.
Thank you. City Manager, do we know how many, a percentage of people that are in that category?
I don't know specifically, but the number that I was last shown was that we had about 1.6 million in arrears for dollars. And we normally would carry about 1.2 million in arrears. So we've got some extra. And so I think this will really help out those kinds of individuals that typically don't go in arrears, that are in arrears now, will be able to access this money and help us out. The actual account numbers shifts so quickly from week to week. I don't have an account number right now.
Okay, thank you.
Well, and I heard that there was one large landlord that owed a substantial amount of money, but with the eviction moratorium, if a property owner had properties where the utilities were included in the rent, I can see them holding off until everything starts to roll again too. So, not sure the particulars on that one, but just getting it rolling. All right. Well, if there isn't anything else on homelessness, let's at least briefly touch on our code compliance issues. We had talked about not even meeting this month as far as that went because we weren't sure how things would be emerging and when people might be ready to come to public hearings. Since we're meeting, though, if people had some thoughts about what might be the best way to engage conversation, and at this juncture especially, whether we still want to go with open in-person hearings in 4 quadrants of the city, or whether adding in some Zoom meetings or even online would be helpful. I just laid out all of those all at once, but you know, when we did the work on studying the code, we were way down in the proverbial weeds, and it's pretty complex to just engage people in general about how they think we're doing and what they think we need as a city. So in general, I was thinking we might want to lead with some broader questions to get those conversations going. But I really was eager to see if you all had put any thought into it yet, and any answer is fine, about how we might best engage people. Councilwoman.
I really would like to have our little meetings, but with the culvert, I don't think that we can. And when I feel like we just need to really Zoom. I'm barely Zooming, you know, and I don't want to hinder anybody from being able to come up and talk to us about code. And we put a lot of time and effort in it, and so I just feel like we might have to do this month by month, especially, you know, with the culvert. And you know, I call myself being very, very careful, but with the unknown, and you know, it was 4 of us in the meeting, me, Brent, and you know, Jessica and Tony, and then one of us tested positive. So you know, I'm home on quarantine. Brent's home on quarantine. Jessica's home on quarantine. I mean, it only takes a few. So I really can't support right now. It really bothers me to see Corey and them there. And I mean, I'm just saying it just takes a few, and that just really shows that. And we were spaced out. So it's just kind of scary, and I don't want to take that chance, and it looks like the numbers are going up. So I would just say that we continue to put that on hold, and being on quarantine, I've had calls about different things, and I've had different things cleaned up, so just keep a note of that. That's where I'm at with that.
And that's great. I wasn't wanting to rush it. What it did was gave us a little time to envision how we would do it when the time came. Time that we didn't necessarily think we would have at first. So that pretty much reiterates what we were talking about. But if the thing to do is just have the live hearings, certainly we would want to give people an opportunity to give some input if they weren't able to come. And so a little thought today, if otherwise later, as we move along, about how we might just frame the issue so that we get the best possible input from people. Neil, did you have any thoughts on the matter yet? Again, any answer's fine.
Yeah, I agree with Sylvia. I think we definitely don't want to push it right now. Even a month ago, it seemed like things were headed the right direction. And we could have talked about it a little bit more at this point. But yeah, let's give it at least another month and see where we're at. I don't know that Zoom meetings are all that productive for what we're trying to achieve here. I mean, I think we talked about meeting in different parts of the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that sends a really great message. And the unfortunate thing about Zoom is I think it isolates us more, people feel like we're isolated more from them. So I guess what I'm saying is rather than push some kind of online meeting right away, maybe see where we are in a month, and maybe we can get back to the
Absolutely.
community meeting. My thoughts. Thanks.
Okay. Well, and despite the fact that we're a little tired of Zoom, if all we need to do is meet for 20 minutes next month to see where we think we are, we can do that without as much wear and tear on the city as getting together. If there isn't any more on that, I would encourage you to think about how we might best open it up and present it to a group to get the quality invitation going, as well as the conversation going when we do move this forward. With that, I thought I would just briefly touch on one other item. Tomorrow evening, we're going to get the housing study report, and it does mention code compliance. It is focused on, the recommendations focus on things we could do that are new and that are money, cash investment from public and private donors and otherwise focused, which is really exciting. But we might want to be thinking about the fact that overall, that part of what the message is in that housing study is that demolition should really be a last resort consideration. So I talked to city manager a little bit earlier today. If it's something we, particularly with this committee, could keep in mind is perhaps encouraging that there be a master plan for how to get how many houses a year we can get into the safe and affordable bucket. And it could well be that code could deliver with private dollars the most of any, even though the other strategies are important. So I don't know if people have any other thoughts about that, but it'll be coming up tomorrow, and we're part of that. Any other to discuss? Seeing none, yes, ma'am.
I just like to thank staff for their hard work and dedication to making sure that the meetings go well. I just can't thank them enough. And thank you, Corey, for keeping us, informed. Really appreciate all your hard work
My pleasure.
in this trying time. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for additionally, I mean, it's almost mind-boggling. What is mind-boggling? All the opportunities that are coming at us and all the things we've wished for all this time, and now they're all coming at once, it seems, and it's kind of hard to sort them out, and you all are doing a really good job of that. Well, with that, let's plan to go ahead and keep our next, the third Monday at 3, expecting that will probably be a 20 to 30 minute meeting unless something emerges that we feel we need more time. Does that sound reasonable, committee members?
Yes.
And staff? Okay, and just let me know, and Liz and or Corey, whichever one seems like the best person to contact first if something comes up, and we'll just roll with it.